North Carolina Senator Thom Tillis is joining us right now. Senator, thank you for joining us on this historic week. Tell us, so it looks like the witnesses, the vote on the witnesses or not, will happen into next week. What are your thoughts on whether this is going to proceed forward? And tell us who you think has done well so far.
Well, you know, frankly, I think that that Nadler and Schiff have done a good job, Schiff more so than Nadler, of hiding their political motivations. If you think about the way Nadler came out of the gate, he's putting the Senate on trial. He's actually called the White House counsel liars, and so he set the political tone, which is appropriate for the political process that started several years ago when they tried to impeach the president. On the witnesses, the evidence that they said that they used and sent over to the Senate was compelling and overwhelming. We'll have that discussion about witnesses, but their task is to demonstrate why. If it's so compelling, if it's so overwhelming, why do we need to do anything other than hear the arguments and move on? So we'll see that question next week. Whether or not the Senate will even agree to hearing additional witnesses is the first motion that we'll take up.
Senator, earlier in the week, the president was at Davos in Davos, Switzerland, and he said he would actually like to testify. Do you think we'll see a president testifying in front of the Senate panel, Senate hearing?
I think it all depends on how the arguments go. Right now, I don't see a compelling reason to hear any other witnesses. We have members taking it in, but I think at the end of the day, I want to go back to what they keep on telling us. It's overwhelming evidence. Present that evidence and have that weight of the evidence determine whether or not anyone else should be seen. The White House counsel, as they go through, may see some witness that they want to have heard, but at the end of the day, it's going to be the decision of the members of the Senate as to whether or not that occurs or whether or not we just move on to the two articles and vote to acquit the president. That's where I am right now, and I think that's where most of my members are.
Do you think there's some new news that is coming out? Lev Parnas continues to drop more texts and emails and whatnot. Do you think there will be, assuming, let's say, there is an acquittal of this of the president in this round, do you think there'll be an impeachment 2.0?
Well, actually, I think this is Kavanaugh 2.0. This is exactly, I sit on the Judiciary Committee. This is a playbook that they've used. And remember, for a few days, they even wanted to impeach Kavanaugh before they found something else they thought they could use against the president. I think that there will be a steady drip of information, which also undermines their whole argument that they have overwhelming evidence based on what they have today. If they had an overwhelming case, then they wouldn't be using the same kinds of tactics that I saw play out in the Judiciary Committee with Brett Kavanaugh. That's what undermines their credibility. Let's not even, I guess we should go back and talk about a lot of the political statements that Schiff and Nadler have made. I view this as a political exercise, and it should be no surprise to Schiff and Pelosi and Nadler that we deal with it in that manner.
Absolutely no offense intended here, Senator, but both sides have played this on. Both sides have literally flipped from 20 years ago when President Clinton was impeached. The House Republicans were pushing to get him out, and those same people right now are likely, a lot of them are senators, Lindsey Graham one of them, who are pushing to not impeach the president for I would call not really high crimes and misdemeanors. Whatever, moving forward. Does it strike you that Chuck Schumer out on these in front of these podiums, the hypocrisy of this part of it, not the fact that you guys have switched sides, but this part of it, Chuck Schumer saying, now the Senate has the trial, we need to be fair. Meanwhile, when the House had the inquiry, there was no fairness. It didn't appear to be any fairness at all. They played by the rules. The Senate will play by the rules.
Well, you know, Senator Schumer wasted the first day that they could be presenting their compelling evidence with motions that he knew was going to fail. And he delayed the organizing resolution that ensured that we will have a question about whether or not we should hear witnesses. Senator Schumer, and incidentally, the votes on the opening day were supposed to be directed, as I understand that Senator Schumer even mentioned, towards candidates who are up in 2020. I'm one of them. I think he thought it was a difficult vote for me to say, no, we're not going to call witnesses before you presented your opening arguments. And so he's continued. The Democrats have actually made a mistake from the very beginning. They didn't go through the formal process for an impeachment inquiry to begin with. That's one of the reasons why they got into trouble in the discovery phase, probably because they had no valid claim. Every step of the way, all they are doing is alienating people in North Carolina, and the people of the United States are saying, what on earth are you doing? thankfully, we've got the China agreement through and the USMCA. We're trying to do some work here while Nancy Pelosi, Schiff, Nadler, and Schumer are wasting the time of the Congress so that we can get back to things that the American people and people in North Carolina care about. And it's not impeachment.
Very quickly, last question. I'm out of time. It's a yes or no. Of the 4 U.S. senators that are going to be involved in this trial, there are 4 of them are running for president currently against their opponent, who is going to be in front of them in court. Should they recuse themselves?
That's a tough yes or no. I think that right now, I've seen all of them. I watched them last night. They're looking at their watch and wishing they were in Iowa, and they can thank Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer for wasting their time and wasting the time of Congress on this sham impeachment.
Senator Thom Tillis, appreciate your time. North Carolina Republican, thank you. Get back to work on that Senate hearing.
Thank you.